Hello, everyone. My name is Darlene Arneson, and I serve as the District 5 Secretary for Sons of Norway. And today I wanted to spend a few minutes talking about some of our February 15th deadlines for the Lodge Achievement Award, the Family Lodge of the Year forms, and also our fraternal gives and how to record those hours if you're not doing them online. So I realize that with the pandemic that this year is a little bit different as we're looking at what our lodge activities are. And the International has uploaded the current app or forms and so forth for us to use. There aren't a whole lot of changes on them. I was hoping to see maybe a few more changes or questions that related more to how we're dealing with COVID and so on, but it is what it is. So I'm going to do my best to kind of show you what we have and so forth. So I'm going to share my screen, and we are going to take a look first of all of where you find things on the website. So when you go into member resources, I'll start at the beginning. You need to log in. So if you haven't done that, whoever is filling out your forms and so forth or has access to them, please make sure that they're taking a look at those and so on. But when you go in, if you click on this red box in the top that says member resources, that'll bring you to this screen. And then I usually go into the Lodge leadership resources, and that's where you're going to click again. And and I know some people are not real thrilled with their new website, but now it's not new anymore. I think we're all going to have to learn how to use it. So I really recommend that you put on a pot of coffee sometime and just spend some time on it, because it is, there's a lot of things on here, some wonderful resources. And to be honest with you, every time that I go on, I'm finding there's more and more things that they've added that are great. And I wasn't aware of them, or maybe I missed some emails and so forth. But before we get into the form, so I do want to show you, when you go into this administrative resource one, they've got the training and presentation resources. And when you click on that, it has videos as well as presentations. And if we take a look at the resource videos, these are some of the ones that David Crabb has been doing, as well as some of the other staff members, and they really have done a nice job with these. So I encourage you to take a look at these. I know you can also find some of those videos on their YouTube channel, but there's some great things just talking about what fraternal benefit societies are. So some of these might be very useful when you're having lodge meetings and you want to share some presentations. But then the other one is a whole series of PowerPoint presentations. One is a lodge leadership that goes through the history and mission. One is on governing documents and roles, and it really goes into a lot of detail on that. The lodge leadership one we're going to take a look at in a second. There's one on publicity. There's one on the Sons of Norway Foundation, and one on financial projects or products. So again, these are great for presentations for your lodges, especially if you're meeting virtually. Let's take a look at this local lodge one, and I'm just going to go into and just briefly go through this, but it goes through some of the logistics of the local lodge and what reports you have to do, how many lodge meetings you need to have, the code of ethics and all of that. So it gives a background about how we're set up, how many districts we have, why we have conventions and district lodge meetings and international lodge meetings every 2 years, what the local board and some basic rules with those, how to do proposals, lodge officer duties, and then it goes through some of the requirements for meeting, what you need to do as far as following Robert's rules, sample agenda for you, but then it goes into some of the required reports, and one is a D-17 or financial statement. That also is due in mid-February. I'm not covering the audit forms on this presentation today. The 990s are due May 15th. That's something your treasurer will be doing, and that's an IRS form. Congratulations, all our lodges had their D63 or officer updates in by the December 31st deadline, so bless your hearts on that. Lodge liability is sent out in mid-August. Due date is on the invoice. Lodge achievement and the Family Lodge of the Year, that's what we're going to focus on. So it goes through what these are and how the awards are, and then it goes through code of ethics and social media policy and privacy privacy and things like that. So really a nice job that they did with these. So I really encourage you to take a look at that. Also be watching, and let's see if they're going to surprise us. No, they're not. They haven't updated the important deadlines yet. So we've been asking for a few weeks now, but this is where you find those. So as soon as they roll over to the 2021 dates, this is where you're going to find them. But if we go to administrative resources, and then it will say lodge forms. So this is where you're going to find your financial forms. That's your D-17, your audit form, whether you're filling it out online, and that might be where your treasurers have logged in, and then they actually will see, I believe, previous year's D-17s. The static form is there, the instruction sheet is there. If you own a building, which I think Matt Lodge is the only one in District 5 now that still owns, we have our own D-18 form and instructions and so forth. Under the next part though, this is where you'll find the Family Lodge of the Year form to fill it out online, or else you can download the PDF and fill it out. It's not an editable PDF, but you can download the PDF. And then for the Lodge Achievement Award forms, they have the American Fraternal Alliance, the year-end report. So if you don't fill out on Fraternal Gives website and you need to log in those volunteer hours and so on, you can download the report, and I'm going to show it to you in a few minutes. But keep in mind there are two versions of the Lodge Achievement Form. There's one for the United States, all the lodges except for those in Georgia, Maine, Michigan, and Tennessee. So two of the states, Michigan and Tennessee, are in District 5. And the reason there's a separate one for them, they don't have, we don't have fraternal benefit counselors or I can't remember the new term for, they have a new term, I can't remember what it is. I think it's like insurance professionals or something like that, in Michigan and Tennessee. So they have a separate form. So when we take a look at the forms, we're going to be looking at that. But anyway, this is where you find the form. So again, you start out in member resources, then click on Lodge Leadership Resources, and then click again on Administrative Resources, and then that's where you're going to find those Lodge forms, and farther down on the training and presentation is where you'll find those PowerPoints and the videos. So that's what's on the International's, excuse me, the website, and I'm just going to log out of here so I can move on to the form. So let's take a look at the Lodge Achievement Form. I'm going to see if I can get it a little bit bigger so you can see it a little bit better. You're basically, filling out, the top of your lodge and so forth. These are due on February 15th. They are mailed directly to the International. And I know that has changed over the years. It used to be years and years ago, it came to your zone director, and then they went over it and they sent it to the district president, and they went over it and sent it in. Then we were sending them to the district president. Now they go directly into the International. So the address is here where you can send it or email it in. And basically it has changed quite a bit. And I'll be honest, I'm not a big fan of the revised form. I don't think it gives us any opportunities to do any explanation and things like that. It's basically a yes or no answer. So the first part is on promotion and recruitment. Were you in parades? Do you have a website or Facebook page, recruitment goals, and so forth? And you're basically just checking one or the other, and at the end, you're adding up your points. Then when we go to member experience, if you're doing cultural, classes or presentations, did you organize things? Do you do any surveys with your members? Do you have a calendar of events? Do you do community service? Do you do culturally based programs and so on? Again, adding up the points. Administration, this talks about your meetings. Are you using fraternal gives? Do you file officer reports? How many, did you do your D-17 and all of that? Did you send delegates to the convention in previous years? Again, I was hoping they would have taken out some of these questions because they really don't apply this year, but anyway. Under the financial, this is where, again, this is for lodges except Michigan and Tennessee. Do we hold new member dinners? Did you invite your insurance professional to do at least 2 presentations? Do you provide information and so forth? Then it talks about the foundation. Do you have a director? Did you do activities and so forth? And then you're adding up the points. So that's how the Lodge Achievement Form is. Now if we go to the one for Michigan and Tennessee, again due February 15th, again sent to the international office. But the difference is when you get to the part that talked about the insurance professionals, they're calling this part on your form promoting the mission. And that talks about if you're discussing the 3 F's, the financial, fraternal, and foundation. Did you host a new member event? Has at least one person purchased any financial products? Have you shared information? And do you have members who own products? And that you can look on your membership list and see if they're a benefit member or not. So that's the biggest difference between those two. Now, if we go to the Family Lodge of the Year, this is not required, but the Lodge Achievement one is a required report. So we'll continue to ask you to get those in and so on. Family Lodge of the Year gives you a little bit more leeway of explaining what's on there. You can again, do this online if you want, or you can download the PDF and fill it out that way. So it's asking if you have an active group for heritage members. Do you offer any language or heritage camp for younger people? Do you have a family camp? Do you support a family camp? Do you have a scholarship program? Do you do Adopt a School? Does your lodge sponsor other youth activities in the community? Does your lodge have any heritage members? And if so, how many? And so the way you can check this is to download your membership list and sort it by age, and then you can see how many members you have 0 to 15 years of age. So that's where you have to look to get that information. Did you have any youth do cultural skills or sports medals? Did you have any family-oriented programs? Were young people in your lodge encouraged to participate in monthly programs or activities? Did they present at all? So, and then on the last page, did you do something that was open to the community? And did you lodge participate as a group in a community service project? So again, you're filling that out. This one needs to be signed by both the lodge president and the secretary. The third one I want to talk about is the American Fraternal Alliance Yearend Report. If you are filling out on fraternal gives, you're entering your lodge activities and volunteer hours that way, then you don't have to worry about this form. But if you aren't, then this form needs to be filled out. And again, the activities are based on community service or fraternal. So community service are activities that are done on behalf of Sons in Norway that assist needy or improve the community, visiting nursing homes, hosting blood drives, food drives, scholarships, tutoring children, etc. But it has to be done in the name of Sons in Norway or as a lodge event. And so it isn't that if you have individual members who volunteer at the hospital, just doing it on their own, you don't count those hours. But if your lodge is volunteering as a group at the hospital, at the blood drive, that's what you can count. Fraternal support is basically everything else. It's the operations of your lodge, it's the business of the lodge, it's promoting fellowship and heritage and all of that. So they ask for the number of events that you have and the total member hours. So it actually is a little bit different than the fraternal gives, because on there it's asking for your volunteer hours, not just member hours. So they're a little bit different. I really encourage you to use the fraternal gives if possible. I did a YouTube video on that, which is on the training playlist, so I encourage you to take a look at that. If you are doing it this way, though, this is also due on February 15th, and I believe there's also some cross-reference to the D17 report on this. So anyway, because I think they ask on that report how you did your hours and so forth, if you did this report or did it with fraternal gives. So Anyway, so there's a lot of stuff coming up and lots of deadlines and things like that. And of course, if you have questions, please feel free to contact me or your zone director or any of the officers of our district. As far as at the home office, Sherry Gorse is great and her team and so forth in helping answering questions regarding membership. She also has been the go-to person on fraternal gives and how to report hours and so on. She's the one I usually ask questions, and I believe she also is the one who, if you haven't logged in or your person who was logging into Fraternal Gives no longer is with your lodge or not an officer and you need to get a new password set, Sherry is the one that you can talk to on that. And I believe she or I would guess Connie O'Brien would be the two to ask about Family Lodge of the Year form questions or lodge achievements. So hopefully this is helpful and can get you kind of started on getting these reports in. Of course, I encourage you to start sooner than later. Keep in mind on the Family Lodge of the Year, you have to have signatures on that one, and so you don't want to wait till the last minute for those. So anyway, have a good day. Thanks for tuning in. And if you have other questions, always feel free to ask. Thank you.